Lil Wayne has been called the best rapper in the world and the undisputed champion of hip-hop.
He will be regarded as one of the greatest rappers of all time.
A diamond-toothed multimillionaire, he was a father and a rap star at the age of 15.
At 11 years old, I signed a deal. So I grew up on the road. I grew up in the street, in the streets of every city.
Because he's on every record, but he's got it down.
He is the embodiment of hip-hop right now. He's everything that hip-hop is about.
He's won 4 Grammy Awards, and he's also served time in one of New York's toughest penitentiaries, Rikers Island. No other rapper takes so much pride in his rhyming, and his wordplay can be thrilling.
A millionaire, I'm a young money billionaire, tougher than Nigeria, and my criteria compared to your courage just isn't fair. I'm a venereal disease, like a menstrual, bleed through the...
His creativity, which just flows through his veins, and his very essence is his power.
He's a lyricist like no other.
He can do tracks that just want to make you party and throw your hands in the air in a club, but he can also do like the most thought-provoking tracks.
He's just a rap genius.
With a voice straight out of the Southern Delta, he is now universally recognized as one of the most prolific artists in the world.
The way he used the internet, the way he used the mixtape circuit was revolutionary.
If you pay for anything of a mixtape of mine, you are jacked.
A wildly inventive and revolutionary rapper, the breadth of his work is astonishing.
If he sings on one more record, then I can swear he is the industry.
Whether you think he's the best or not, he's easily one of the best.
He invented the term bling bling and has been name-dropped more than once by President Obama.
Talking to Wayne is special. You just feel you're in the presence of greatness.
This is the story of the rise and rise of Lil Wayne, hip-hop superstar. Lil Wayne is constantly recording songs, sometimes 3 or 4 a night. And his freestyle way of working has gained him legions of fans all around the world. He counts among his friends and many musical collaborators Eminem and Drake, and has always been surrounded by a bevy of beauties. Constantly reinventing himself, the man the fans call Weezy refuses to be pigeonholed. Lil Wayne has covered most of his body in tattoos and embedded gold and diamonds in his teeth, giving a whole new meaning to the term, a multi-million-dollar smile. He has courted controversy by being jailed for possession of drugs and an unlicensed weapon, but has constantly sidestepped infamy through his musical genius. Along the way, Lil Wayne has always gained the respect of his peers, with his undisputed intellect, outstanding knowledge of pop culture, and engaging sense of humor.
So Wayne, the mic busted you in the mic. What happened, man? What happened? The mic busted you in the lip?
I'd be a little too wild out there.
Oh, you just went in?
Yeah, so.
And just smacked yourself?
Yeah, I'd be all right.
Oh, man, how you feel about that?
I'm good.
You didn't lose no diamonds?
I'm gonna get somebody to kiss it tonight.
Oh, my God. Oh,
But behind all the controversy and hype, what is this superstar rapper really like? He was born Dwayne Michael Carter on September 27, 1982, and grew up in Holly Grove, a working-class district in New Orleans, a city with a young and hungry hip-hop scene.
The South sort of really first came to a prominence through No Limit, which was a New Orleans crew with Master P and his brothers Silk the Shocker and C Murder.
All of a sudden, the power kind of shifted from New York and Los Angeles to the South. You know, simultaneously, Lil Wayne is growing up in New Orleans and No Limit's everything.
I grew up in clubs. I grew up in a bank. I grew up in the office. I grew up in the studio. That's where I grew up at. That's why I am music.
Growing up in New Orleans, he attended a school for the gifted, and as a child, dreamed of seeing his name up in lights as an international music star. Even at the tender age of 9, he showed remarkable initiative by hanging out at the local offices of a rap record label called Cash Money.
I was 8 years old when I wrote my first rap. I was 11 when I put my name on the dotted line. Yeah.
He was just like a youngster who was always around, right? Like one of those crazy, crazy kids.
Cash Money was owned by local rapper Birdman Baby Williams, who had a reputation for nurturing young talent.
What I've noticed with that Cash Money clique is that it's a real family thing, and it almost seemed that like Wayne had been adopted into this family.
Despite being just 9 years old, Wayne wasted no time trying to impress Birdman.
His mother was friends with this guy named Brian Williams, who is the head of Cash Money Records. He raps under the name Baby or Birdman. And Lil Wayne wanted to start rapping, so he started calling Brian Williams at home and leaving messages on his answering machine saying, I want to be a rapper, I want to, you know, he would leave raps on his answering machine.
He just used to leave random raps and rhymes and like for days on days and on days.
And he got a deal. I think it was maybe 11 when he got signed.
Birdman liked what he heard, and he knew he was opening his door to something special.
He was always very gifted at rapping. You know, I think with most, you know, young artists, he really hadn't staked out his identity yet. His identity was mainly the kid. They knew that they wanted him to be a great musician and a great artist, and so they tried to keep him off the streets and out of trouble as much as possible.
Under Birdman's protective wing, Wayne flourished, and he looked to the older man not only as a mentor, but also as a male role model.
Birdman is definitely a father figure to Lil Wayne. He's constantly there to help Wayne out, whether it's with music or whether it's just for advice.
He calls him, you know, daddy, so like the relationship is obviously very close, and you know, he was the one who kind of took him out of where he was at and kind of made him into what he became.
Now, one of the hottest moments for me is when you walked on that stage. Like, Wayne was happy to see you, dog. He was like, yo, what's up?
I know, homie.
That
be the joy of my life when I touch the stage with my son. I'm in heaven, you know what I mean? And to see the look at the people, because people, you know, these people been with us for years, and this is, to me, people don't like us, they love us. So I feel a different feeling when I step on the stage. And I know the path of my son, you know, I can see the shine and the gloss on him, like, shh, let's do it, you know, it feels good. It's beyond words for me. It's like a white dove in the sky.
Speaking to Birdman about Lil Wayne is like speaking to a father about his son. He refers to him as his son. He refers to him like there's a true blood connection. You wouldn't think that they were separate if you didn't know your facts, if you didn't know the info.
Baby goes everywhere with Wayne. Wayne's on tour in Europe, Baby's there, but not by his side. They'll each be in their own tour bus, and they might not see each other until they're on stage, but he's there just taking care of it.
And Birdman coming out?
Birdman, yeah, he comes out every show. Every show.
You seem like happy to see him, well, I ain't gonna front.
Yeah. Because I actually don't see him the whole day. So I don't see him till he come out on stage. So that'd be my first time seeing him for the day.
It felt like, yo, what's up? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it didn't feel like he was, you know, he felt like, yo, what's up?
Yeah, that's what it was. It was like, what's up? How you been today?
Yeah.
Birdman is definitely the guy that Wayne goes to. It's just natural for them to have that sort of relationship together in the music and behind the scenes.
With Birdman, he's empowered Wayne as much as possible. I think he's given him the best platform possible. And I think he's fought a lot of battles to make sure that he gets the success that he's currently enjoying. And that's within the boardroom and I'd say on the street level as well.
With his foot firmly in the door at Cash Money Records, Lil Wayne began to establish himself as an up-and-coming talent.
There's Lil Wayne kind of coming up, and he did a good job of kind of holding his own with the older rappers. I mean, these are guys that had been around New Orleans for years and years and putting out records. And what No Limit and Cash Money kind of did was they almost operated as like, you know, the all-star team where they would just pick the best rappers from the neighborhood. And he was able to kind of fit in pretty seamlessly in that.
As well as early musical success, Lil Wayne had an early taste of parenthood when he was just 15. His daughter Reginae was the first of 4 children he has fathered with 3 different women.
2 girls pregnant at the same time. Congratulations, Doc.
3.
3?
Yeah.
3 at the same time?
Oh, no, not at the same time. No, 3 sons. I meant 3 sons.
You got
I
3
had 3
sons.
sons. Yeah.
Now,
yeah.
Lauren London, she's had a baby. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Nivea's still expecting?
Yes, sir.
I mean, when do you find time to rest? How do you do that?
What's that?
I mean...
What's rest?
Rest has never been Lil Wayne's thing. In the early 1990s, he began releasing records with Cash Money while still in his early teens. When talking about growing up in New Orleans, Wayne says, "Nobody ever looked at me as a little kid rapper, just a badass kid." The badass kid continued to morph into a major talent. And in 1997, his career path took a major swerve when Birdman formed Hot Boys with fellow rappers Juvenile, BG, and Turk.
I was 12 when my first group album came out, BG. I was 14 when my first group album came out with the Hot Boys. I was 15 when my first solo album came out, The Block Is Hot. That went platinum, my first solo album. And then after that, everything was history.
Juba without no gold is like Weezy without no braids.
I'm 15 with 15 carats.
You know what I'm saying?
He was like the youngest member of the Hot Boys, and Hot Boys had some heat at that time, but nothing really compared to like artists like Juvenile. And what I've noticed with that Cash Money clique and with Young Money as well is that it's a real family thing, and it almost seemed that like Wayne had been adopted into this family. I mean, he had a role because he was an artist, but he was just part of it.
Hot Boys' first single, Get It How You Live, became a smash hit. And 2 years later, they set the hip-hop world alight with the launch of their innovative album, Guerrilla Warfare. It was around this time that Lil Wayne coined the phrase, bling bling, meaning light bouncing off precious gems or jewels. It's an expression that's made its way into the English dictionary, an example of how influential Lil Wayne has proved worldwide.
Back in the day, you know, everyone was saying bling bling. Everyone was saying bling. If you got bling, who's got bling? It's crazy that he came up with that phrase.
I mean, Cash Money pretty much gets credit for coining it. You know, now it's in the Oxford Dictionary.
It just shows you the power of Lil Wayne from even back then, you know, like, I mean, he came up with that phrase and like all around the world people were saying it, you know. It became the new hip-hop phrase.
It got to the point where, you know, something's played out when it becomes a sitcom punchline. When you have like the goofy white guy who thinks he's hip using bling bling, and now it's gotten to the point where you couldn't even get a laugh from that. So that's how ubiquitous it's become in pop culture.
He gave English a word.
1997 proved to be something of a bling-bling year in its own right for young Wayne. It was a year that changed his life forever, and incredibly, he was still only 15 years old. Buoyed by the success of Guerrilla Warfare, he released his first solo album, The Block Is Hot.
And this a little nigga saying something about a little nigga. Look at this little nigga.
The block is hot, man.
Next week?
Next week I'll be 15. The block is hot, man.
We used to do the big tours back then. It used to be the Hot Boy tours. We would come out together. And, you know, that Block Is Hot dropped. I had to come out by myself. You know what I mean? That was when I knew it was popping.
Yo, Drew, real quick, what else is happening with Cash Money? I know you're putting a lot of people on right now. I mean, right now, the block is hot. Lil Wayne shit about to drop. I can't go no further than that. After that, I'm going to come rap to you again, you know what I'm saying? But right now, the fucking block is hot. Like we said, in the year 2000, it's going to be all about Wayne. Y'all peep it at the 4 million. Y'all going to respect it at the 4 million. You know what I'm saying? We wish everybody over there.
Demonstrating how talented an artist he really was, it sold a staggering 1 million copies in the U.S. and went platinum for Lil Wayne.
When he came with The Block Is Hot, that's when he started to stand alone. And I think that's when you could see Wayne as the artist that he was going to become. Before, I think he was lost a bit in that whole Cash Money clique. There was so many artists there, so much happening, so much energy. It was really dominated by Juvenile for a long while. And I think The Block Is Hot is when he started to stand alone.
Wayne's name was now scorching through the music world, and at last, it seemed like all his dreams were starting to come true. Wayne carefully cultivated his image, covering himself in colorful tattoos and undergoing major dental surgery, which resulted in a mouthful of diamonds and gold.
He physically has diamonds implanted in his teeth. They're not, it's not like they're just stuck on there like fake dentures or something. They're they're in there. They're implanted pretty good.
Lil Wayne's got tats on his face, all on his body, and his dreads. People do just want to look like Wayne.
I mean, you know, I don't know if Wayne's image was a conscious kind of creation. I think it's something that evolved over time. I do think that, you know, if you look at, you know, if you do study rappers, that's the one thing that separates maybe a major label rapper and like a huge sensation from an underground rapper. When you become this big sensation, you either need to have this, you know, larger than life image.
There were sort of a few lanes that you could go in. You know, you could be like the gangster, or you could be the mogul like Jay-Z. But Wayne sort of created this new personality where he could just be kind of a weird freak, which, you know, he would be the first to say about himself. He opened that up to a lot of rappers who followed him since then.
Grilled teeth, diamonds in his mouth. He's really got an image of like a rapper that doesn't care about normal society looks. He can just do himself. We asked him, why did you cover up a tattoo tear that he had on his face?
You've got some new tats, you've lost some tattoo tears. Why'd you lose some tears, man?
I just took one off.
Just one off?
Mm-hmm. It was at a mother's request.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, so you know.
What, a baby mother's request?
No, not a baby mother. My mother.
Okay.
Yeah, it was
so
at
why
a
did she want
mother's
you to
request.
lose some tats?
No, she just wanted me to cover the tail up. Yeah, that's all. She was like, got too many. You know what I mean? She was like, at least have, you cool with 2. You don't need 3. So, that's mom's.
Yeah, it's no discussion.
Yeah, if she wanted me to cover all of them up, I'm covering them all up. Exactly.
It is what it is.
That's why he did it. It's not because of society doesn't like tears on your face. It's like he's doing it for his mom. So, but the rest of his image is just him, but he does respect what his mom thinks about his image as well.
There's always been a difficult balancing act in rap, you know, whereas you want to come off as sensitive, so, you know, you'll get a female fan base, and your male fan base will also be able to emotionally connect with you on like a kind of a visceral level. It makes you a powerful figure, yet at the same time you can't come off as soft. So it's like a kind of tightrope to walk.
The way his image is to tell you where he's kind of come from, the tattoos and, you know, the little muscular build.
I think his image is him. It's not like a created, manufactured image. I think that's just his image. I mean, he's added to it with the tats and growing there, but Wayne is just Wayne.
He has hundreds of tattoos. I think he likes to be outrageous in that, you know, the teeth and the tattoos and everything gives him this sort of over-the-top image, which he likes. And I think he would probably be doing that even if he weren't a rapper. Like, I think that's just who he is.
Lil Wayne's unusual and uninhibited performances have made his stage shows the stuff of hip-hop legend.
Seeing Lil Wayne live is an experience, and I think the key to his stage show is because he's done so many features, so many cameos on other people's tracks, he's got 100 hits before he even gets into his own catalogue. So just as he's warming up, you're hearing all your favourite songs that he's appeared on, and he's only doing snippets of the tracks because that's all he's appeared on. And it's actually pretty clever, really. You know, you have a hit with everybody else and then use it in your set, and yeah, it was an amazing show.
For a while, he was working with pretty much everyone. He was, you know, I think he was charging $100,000 to do a verse, to do a guest verse on a song, and was getting a lot of guest verses still. So it was worth people's $100,000 to get Wayne on a song, because I think it was going to be, you know, that's guaranteed airplay.
Since those heady days, he has written and performed and recorded relentlessly. He's also had 4 children along the way. His eldest daughter, Regine, was born when he was only 15 to his high school sweetheart, Toya Carter, whom he married, then divorced 2 years later. Wayne went on to have 2 more sons, Dwayne III and Lennox Samuel Ari, with actress Lauren London in 2009. And he also had his 4th child, Neil, with singer Nivea that same year.
Wayne on stage, I mean, has like an energy where he just bounces on stage and he dominates that stage. You just can't take your eye off stage. He works with a live band, a band he doesn't rehearse, but they obviously know all the songs. They've obviously rehearsed, but not with Wayne.
I actually never rehearsed with him.
You never rehearse?
No.
You never rehearsed with the band?
I just trust them. I know my I know my songs. It's up to them to know the music. I don't have to rehearse. I know my raps.
What it means is that he's not trapped by the song. So it's not like, you know, the instrumental starts and he's got to hit the verse and then he's got to hit the next chorus. You know, that band can just give him a groove that he can just rock out to. And that's the power of it. On stage with the band and the DJ, it's the essence of hip-hop.
Honestly, that band makes the show 100% better to me. I think with the band, I can just actually, after a song or after a verse, I can actually put the mic down and go drink a swig of water because the band is boom, you know what I mean? So that right there is, like I said, it makes the show 100% better. I don't ever want to go back out without a band.
His artistic integrity and his eccentric Southern swagger have made him one of the hottest hip-hop artists on the planet.
It's one thing to say you hot in your city. One thing to say you hot in your state. One thing to say you hot in your region. One thing to say you can step out into somebody else's region and say you hot. But when you step out the country and they scream your name, oh man, I don't know if that's good for my ego. I don't know, you know, I already think I'm the shit. Now I'm diarrhea around this motherfucker. Yeah.
Wayne continues to surprise his fans, like when he enrolled at the University of Houston in January 2005.
I think he attended the University of Houston, but I'm pretty sure it was an online program. And I also have learned that when you get to that kind of position, whether it's in the music industry or film or television, you invariably have a certain degree of intellect. And I think a lot of people kind of try to denigrate rappers by saying, oh, they're not really stupid. And it is a kind of almost a form of coded racism.
Despite earning high grades, not surprisingly, he dropped out due to his conflicting work schedule. By now, he was arguably the world's hardest working rapper and keen to get more involved in the world of R&B. One thing Wayne has always been is ambitious.
I
think what sets Wayne apart as an artist would be, number one, his work ethic. I think he, you know, a lot of rappers, a lot of musicians in general talk about how hard they work and they're nonstop, but he really goes nonstop.
Back in the day, Jay-Z's kind of work rate was the same as his. There were songs out on the street like nearly every 2 months.
He says it himself all the time. He wants to be the best, and he's a workaholic. He won't stop until he's satisfied with being the best and selling the most records and having the most popular concerts, and that's what he wants to do.
You got like the work ethic of Pac, you got the mass appeal of Biggie, you got the lyrical diversity of Jay-Z. Kind of feels you're gonna do something big for hip hop, right?
Man, I pray to God I do. And I hope whatever it is, I ain't trying to do it big, I just want to do it right. Yeah.
In terms of his prolificacy, he was, you know, when he started doing it, it almost just seemed like it couldn't be controlled. It was like a flood, you know. He would, no matter how many times they tried to control it, stuff would get leaked.
Wayne puts out so much music, and I think that's just part of this creative process that he has. And I think when you are creative, you become more creative.
I don't have time to pay attention to nothing else but music. So your question shouldn't ever be nothing but me. I don't know what's happening in New Orleans. I don't know what's happening where I'm at. I just know about music, man. That's all. Like, pay attention, look at the list, listen to the radio, watch television. Like, if I ain't going to court or jail, I'm going to the studio or something. Like, straight up.
You know, these artists who say, oh, I've got to make an album in November, spend 2 weeks recording it and then stop, and then don't record for another year to make the next album. Wayne isn't about that. Wayne lives in the studio, and that's his life. You know, it's what he does. And that's him as a true, genuine artist. Music-led, just putting his soul out there.
But even greater heights were to be reached by the hard-working rapper when his most successful and groundbreaking album, The Carter 3, was released in 2008, selling over 1 million copies in the US alone in its first week of release.
A lot of artists, I think, take a quantum leap. There's a point where you can kind of go, before this they were good, and then after this they kind of became great.
You know, the defining moment of Wayne, which separated Wayne from, you know, a great artist into the greatest, was the Carter 3. That really summed up his sound, his incredible lyrical ability.
I'd have to say my favorite Lil Wayne album is the Carter 3. It was the most anticipated. You know, I was on my radio show 2 years prior to that. Every week it was the build-up to that album. Every week people wanted to hear more and more. He was doing freestyles, he was doing cameos in other people's tracks. And it just felt that the Carter 3 was gonna be that pivotal moment within hip-hop that year. It was gonna be the biggest album no matter who was gonna come out.
And, you know, at the time, you know, you had all these rappers that were kind of just rapping, and they hadn't really, no one had ever, like, decided to use their voice as an instrument.
Tell us about the album, The Carter Volume 3. It's like easily the most anticipated album, right, for this year, 2008.
I put my all into it. I hope everyone enjoy it. It's me. It's me on the platter. So if you don't like it, then you don't like me. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. Take what you get.
The Carter 3 is, I believe, so far his best record. It didn't only sell 1 million copies in the US, it sold 1 million copies its first week, which these days is basically unheard of. The way he set up the record was really good. He had his song A Milli, which was sort of there was no chorus on it, it was straight rapping. He was rapping very hard and tough. It was sort of for the streets. And then he had his song called Lollipop, which was basically all chorus. And it had a really catchy hook. It got huge airplay on Top 40 radio. So he sort of had those both. He pleased, you know, his longtime hip-hop fans, and then he really crossed over to the pop audience with that album. He'd already been a huge star, but that's when he became on the A+ list. You know, he was a superstar after that.
Records like A Milli, like his the furiousness and like the energy, he was like just a beast on there. Just a beast.
A millionaire, I'm a young money billionaire, tougher than Nigeria, and my criteria compared to your career just isn't fair. I'm a venereal disease, like a menstrual, bleed through the pit.
I can't imagine, you know, Universal hearing A Milli and being like, oh, that's gonna be a huge hit, but it was able to kind of take hold and become this underground hit.
Again, it shows his like real lyrical ability to be able to put the metaphors and to put everything together, and talking about what it takes to be a rapper is very, very detailed. You know, it is genius.
By selling over 1 million albums in a week, Wayne had become a rap superstar.
It was really where he just became on fire. It's really where he like took lyrics to a different level, saying some of the flyest stuff you'll ever hear on any rap record in your life. And that's where I felt he became bigger than a great rap artist, just became one of the greatest artists of our time.
The summer of, I think it was 08, I think when Carter 3 came out, you know, you couldn't go anywhere without hearing it, you know, reverberating like heavy bass from car speakers. Even a song like Lollipop, which is kind of a bass sort of grab for like pop stardom. He was able to make that a hit.
I done saw some shit happen off that Lollipop, I mean. Trust me, I done played that Lollipop in the studio loud around some females, and yeah, that's the joint, that's the jam.
It's been tested.
That's the joint, that's the jam.
Slowly but surely, his sounds become a little bit more commercial with the kind of pop melodies and the choruses, especially Lollipop. I mean, it's just very kind of like, you can see it's like got pop written all over it. But because he's got that whole kind of like southern swagger about him, doesn't really care what's going on kind of vibe, it really works.
It confirmed Lil Wayne as one of the most successful hip-hop performers in the world.
The way he plays with words, he loves words, he kind of delights in puns and wordplay and jokes and things like that. One of my favorite lines of his, and I think this is pretty telling too, is after his album The Carter 3 went platinum in its first week, he put out this song basically saying thank you to the fans. It was a free track that he put online to say thanks to everyone who bought my album. And one of the lines in it is, to my female audience, I hope you're using sanitizer. And it's here you sort of think, oh, is this gonna be some raunchy line? But the next one is, because I'm kissing all your hands, which is just like a very sweet, you know, polite thing to do. It's just this image of him taking a female fan's hand and kissing it. So I think that's, he's a lover.
He's like the trickster, he's like the id, like he's all stream of consciousness, and I think that's like a big part of his appeal.
Wayne won the Grammy Award that year for Best Rap Album with the Carter 3. But winning Grammys wasn't enough for Wayne. Following in the footsteps of his old mentor Birdman, he went on to launch his own label, Young Money, which has already spawned a stable of astonishing new talent.
Young Money has been going around since the middle part of the last decade, and Wayne has had a pretty unbelievable year for talent.
One of Wayne's best known proteges to date is Drake, now one of the biggest sensations on the music scene.
Come on, man, that's a monster right there.
Drake, that kid is just amazing. Of course, he don't even have an album out. He's like, everybody features song. Every song he drop is #1, and man. I mean, he's a cash cow. I love it.
Young Money is Wayne's label, and I think the artists coming out of Young Money are gonna dominate hip hop for the next 10 years. The sound, the style, and them as artists. Those artists have so much energy, have so much passionate fans, have such a relationship with their fans, are making some of their most creative music.
And just like his old mentor Birdman, Lil Wayne has stepped up to his new role of label boss.
All I can tell you is Young Money, Cash Money, Universal will prevail.
This is our first time meeting. I go by the name of Drizzy Drake. I rep this scene they call Young Money, Cash Money.
You can see those dynamics in other acts on Young Money. Nicki Minaj, Drake, they all have that relationship.
I think Nicki Minaj is a great artist, and that she signed to Young Money has just made her so much more bigger than if maybe she'd signed to a normal record label that hasn't got that tight-knit family. She came out from doing mixtapes, and apparently she met Wayne on an airplane, and he just wanted to see her and see what she was about, and signed her to the label.
The latest addition to Wayne's stable of talent is UK hip-hop artist Jay Sean.
Well, I'm part of Cash Money, so I'm signed to the label, and of course 2 of my boys were up there on stage today, Lil Wayne and Drake, so it was just so nice to be able to watch them tear up the stage. And I just came here, you know, as a fan of music myself. It's just been incredible to be around such superstars, and I continue to get inspired by them when I watch them on stage, you know?
It was only a matter of time before some of the world's biggest stars were queuing up to collaborate with him, including Eminem.
To get 2 geniuses together on one track is a big thing.
If Wayne is feeling a song, he'll jump on it just because he loves that song and wants to be part of a great song. You know, he's not in this as a businessman. He's just, as an artist, believing in the music. And the music, I think, is his spirit, is his soul. And I think he just lays that open and bears that.
But despite his phenomenal success, Lil Wayne's fans began to worry about the persistent rumors of his alleged addiction to a codeine-based cough syrup known as Purple Drank. He once claimed he was so high he could see a star.
When I was talking to him about the fans being worried about him partying a little too hard, it was in reference to, you know, there's all kinds of rumors that he was dabbling with drugs. There's the whole thing about scissor. And I just said, look, you know, a lot of fans were a little worried that you're partying too hard.
What would you say to the fans? Because like nobody wants to see anything happen to you. People just want to see you achieve what you're gonna achieve.
Well, first off, I don't party hard because if I did, then I wouldn't be able to produce the great music that I do. Second of all, I don't party hard because if I did, then I wouldn't be able to produce the amount of music that I do. Third of all, I don't party hard because if I did, then the music wouldn't be of quality the way it is. Now, fourth, The scissor, it's a downer. It's codeine. It makes you tired. So you don't want to party when you on the scissor. Now, fifth, I'm me. And I do what the fuck I want to do, and I'm gonna keep doing what the fuck I want to do. And if syrup is what the fuck I want to do, I'm gonna do it until I can't do it no more. And if you're worrying about me, let me tell you something. I promise to God I appreciate it, but keep your worries and worry about more important things like yourself, because I swear I get on my knees every night and day. I'm fine. So if you worrying about me, you wasting your time, because my God got me ready to take me today or next year or never. I'm good. You need to worry about you.
I was just like, wow. Because it was just, you didn't expect him to be so honest, and you didn't expect him to be, you know, so carefree about his own existence, you know, and it was kind of shocking. It made a good interview, but at the same time, it's kind of alarming that someone's going through that. And, you know, most great rock and roll artists have had them problems, you know, that as bad as they are, it also helps them become an amazing artist.
Cough syrup's one of those things that you can never really, you can't really go on national television and be like, oh yeah, I drink lots of cough syrup all the time. Also, there was a history of deaths from codeine. A lot of Houston rappers, rapper Big Mo died prematurely. A famous Houston producer and DJ Screw died and Pimp C of UGK died of a sleep apnea caused by, you know, he'd taken too much codeine and cough syrup that night.
That question and that answer was kind of a very impactful moment, I think, for Wayne across the board. You know, everybody who saw it online, everybody who saw that was like shocked, you know. So it was kind of, the interview was mixed emotions, because it was like excitement, first time in interviewing Wayne. It's also a bit like, I didn't really want to hear the answer, but, you know, he says what he says.
He is of the opinion that he can keep it under control, and he is certainly not endorsing it or encouraging other people to go out and do drugs, but he thinks it helps him and has not hurt him so far, so he doesn't see how it's hurting anyone.
I think Wayne said it all when he said, you know, what's in my cup is my business. But, you know, Wayne has a right to make his own decisions.
I want to tell you the truth, man. It's a beautiful thing that you've put the cup down, irrespective that it's none of my goddamn business what's in the cup, but it's a beautiful thing, man.
But it's not a beautiful thing because nobody knows what's in the cup. That's the whole thing. Unless you come up and drink what's in my cup, then how can you say it's a beautiful thing? Also, when people drink alcohol, they react like they've been drinking alcohol. So whatever the hell was in my cup, the only reaction I did was got more popular, more successful, did a lot more things that I've ever done, picked up a guitar, learned how to play it, learned how to put on the auto-tunes and stretch my voice, and became #1 in the country with everything I've ever dropped. I probably should pick that cup back up. I'm just trying to make people understand.
Yeah, understand.
Yeah, I'm just trying to make people understand that don't judge me.
Yes.
Be trying to say, yeah, he should have put the cup down. Why? What did he do wrong? Name it. He was on 60 Minutes with Kay the Curry. Was you? No. He won 4 Grammys. The year of the cup. Did you? No. What the hell was in his cup? Whatever he was drinking must be a motherfucking success potion.
But while some fans were concerned, others admired Lil Wayne's determination to buck the system.
You know, he'd go on interviews on national television and talk about openly smoking weed. And, you know, most of the time, I mean, even if you look at somebody like Jay-Z, who kind of came from that sort of upbringing, you know, at this point, he was one of the other biggest superstars. You know, he's wearing a suit, he's, you know, hanging out with billionaire Russian, you know, owners of the Nets. You know, he's on a jet all the time.
And yet another surprising, and some would say risky move. Wayne revealed to his fans that one of his favorite childhood bands, Nirvana, had inspired him to venture into uncharted territory. He was about to write and perform a rock album, which he called Rebirth, released in 2010.
You know, he picked up the guitar, taught himself how to play it, and made it sound beautiful. And I think him as an artist doing that was powerful.
That's sort of Lil Wayne's philosophy. You know, I like rock music. I want to make a rock record. I want to play guitar and get on stage and yell and jump around a lot and bang my head and whip my dreads around, and so he did it.
I look at it like I bring a different side to the game with that. I look at it like I scare my competition with that. When they see a show like this and they see, wait, he pulled the guitar out and sung Walk This Way, and the crowd was singing it back, walk this way. And when my competition sees something like that, they like, and then right when he finished, he went into Kush, and the whole crowd sung that. So what is he? And then right when he finished that, he sung, and I'm grinding, and the whole crowd sung with him and put up lighters, and like he's a real singer. So that's what I want my competition. I want my competition to be like, I don't know what to do.
Just confuse cats.
Yeah. It's called a Wildcat offense.
The Wildcat offense.
You don't know what I'm gonna do with the ball. You don't know who gets the ball. Wildcat.
Rebirth, I think that was inspired by Kanye West, because Kanye West just did an album called 808s and Heartbreak, where he was like, I'm not gonna rap, I'm just gonna sing. So, you know, P. Diddy was like, oh, I'm gonna do an album like that, and then I think Wayne was like, actually, I'm gonna do a rock album.
When everyone, you know, every artist has that kind of great success, there's the need to kind of show the world that I can do anything. And I think Wayne wanted to show the world that he could do anything.
Lil Wayne knows he's a talented guy, and he knows he loves music, and so he doesn't normally put himself into one genre. So that's why he just put himself into doing rock, but he didn't want to say he's now a rock artist, he's still just Lil Wayne. And I think that's an amazing way to look at Lil Wayne, as being an artist that can just do music, period, as opposed to just doing rap music.
Doing that was powerful. I think an artist like Wayne, you can't stereotype, you can't pigeonhole, you can't say, no, this is his lane, he shouldn't step out of that. His music is revolutionary in a lot of ways.
When an artist pushes the boundaries, I think it's good because it shows a different side to them. I think it's good business for them because they get a different audience that's going to buy into what they do.
It was a shock to the hip-hop world, as in they're not used to those sort of beats, they're not used to heavy guitars and drums. But with Wayne playing it, it just looks so impressive that people bought into him doing that type of music now. Not as, oh, he's sold out, he's leaving us. They still respected that, no, Wayne is just doing him right now.
The album entered the US charts at number 2, becoming Wayne's 7th top 10 album in the US, and spawned 4 hit singles for the star. As well as allegations of drug taking, Wayne hasn't always found it easy to shake off his southern gangster leanings and demons.
For a lot of artists, you know, they're from the street, they're still surrounded by people they grew up with, and, you know, they took people from their, you know, their own communities, people who have very little opportunity in life, people who are going through tremendous hardships, and, you know, giving them a way out to earn money and support their families and show them a better life, give them opportunities they you know, wouldn't have experienced otherwise. And some of that hood stuff still surrounds you.
Wayne's gangsta lifestyle finally caught up with him when he was arrested for possession of a handgun after a gig in New York City.
Well, New York is infamous for having something called the Hip Hop Police, and they've had it for about, I want to say, 10 years or so. It's a rough estimate. And, you know, obviously Manhattan is a very kind of small place, so, you know, when a big rap star comes in to New York, it's pretty obvious. You know, there's only a few venues that he can play. So I think the excuse was that they smelled marijuana coming from Wayne's tour bus, which is like the most absurd thing. It's yeah, obviously, if you didn't smell marijuana from Lil Wayne's tour bus, something would be going terribly wrong.
So they came on board and found a bag that had a pistol in it that was closest. It was registered to his manager, but it was closest to Lil Wayne, so they charged him with possession of a weapon.
I mean, obviously, Lil Wayne has the ability at this point in his life to have about 20 people to take the rap, but I think that, you know, they were out for Wayne.
People did feel like it was unjust, but at the same time, people thought that why wasn't there someone else in his team that could take the bid for him? But Wayne stood up and said that it was his, pleaded guilty, and so that's also put into the hip-hop community that it's good to man up to what you've done. And so people did disrespect that he had to do what he had to do for being caught with weapons, and that was go to prison for a year.
In March 2010, Wayne was sentenced to 8 months in a New York penitentiary, Rikers Island, after being convicted of criminal possession of an offensive weapon. His team were devastated.
What up, Birdman?
Westwood caught up with a reflective Wheezy the day before he went inside.
Wayne, real sad day in hip-hop. How you feeling, man? You built for it? You ready?
You don't feel for it. Just go through it.
You're gonna ride it out like a soldier.
So you can do.
Yeah, man. Just one day at a time and keep your head up.
Yeah, of course.
Now, you're working crazy. I mean, I've seen you do 4 videos today, and I only saw 4, and I'm exhausted. I was falling asleep at the back, man.
I'm like one of them niggas right now, Tim.
Oh, man. Well, we're going to miss you, man. We're going to miss you a lot.
I'm not sure.
It's only for a minute, so.
Not even a minute, a second.
Thanks, Wayne, man.
Nah, thank you.
Really good to see you, man.
Rikers Island has over 17,000 prisoners and is one of the toughest jails in the world.
The first thing he would do when he woke up every morning was go call his kids. And right before he went to bed every night, he would call again and talk to each of his kids. Wayne was in something called protective custody, which is a separate section of the jail that they keep inmates in who might not be safe in the general population.
As a tribute, fans and friends created a website called Wheezy Thanks You, which published letters written by Wayne in prison.
He kept himself connected with all of his fans. He sent out his address in prison so he can receive letters from fans, and he also wrote letters back to the fans on his website.
It was a pretty brilliant move because it was a way for him to communicate with his fans while he was in prison, because he wasn't allowed, he didn't have email, he didn't have Twitter, he didn't have Facebook.
It just kept that connection. I think they shared in his journey. And, he used to read his fan mail all day. He couldn't get through it. He had so much every day.
Some of it was responding to fan mail, and reportedly there was, this huge, maelstrom of letters kind of going to him.
He was getting insane amounts of mail. I think he was getting 500 or 600 letters a day from fans all over the world. And he wrote back to a lot of them. He clearly cares a lot about his fans and loves hearing from them. I think it meant a lot to him while he was in jail to feel so supported and loved. People would write in with poetry that they had written, or things that they had painted, or raps of their own, and he would always be very complimentary and encouraging. I love what you're doing, keep it up. Sometimes he would wish people good luck in their softball games, and it was a very sweet gesture, and also very smart from a business perspective.
With such epic support from his fans, Wayne managed to turn his sentence into a chance to reflect on his success and his situation.
He read all of the major religious texts. He read the Bible, I think he read some of the Quran, he read Confucius, he read the Tao Te Ching. He read a lot of biographies, mostly by old, classic rock stars. He and a lot of the other inmates used to gamble playing Uno. He used to play Uno with his grandmother, so he was really good. But since they didn't have money, they would gamble for their commissary, which is their food and their clothes and radios and stuff like that. He would be like, I want to get those chips, let me get those cookies. He was just taking everyone's food. And they would gamble sometimes they would gamble for telephone time. So he would talk about other inmates not being able to call their wives or girlfriends or kids because Lil Wayne had taken all their phone time for the day. And he was very proud of that.
He also had a job as a suicide prevention aide. From 10 to 6 at night, he walked the halls on suicide watch, keeping an eye out for inmates trying to kill themselves. Wayne's last month in Rikers was the hardest. He got caught with an iPod charger in his cell and was punished with 30 days in solitary confinement.
You know, for somebody like that who comes from a life where they can have everything, you know, whether it's women or drugs or, you know, the best transport, you know, going everywhere in a limo or a private jet and never having to worry about anything and going to this kind of cloistered, dank Rikers Island environment, you don't have any music. And for somebody like that whose whole life was music, I mean, I think that's been the one constant stream, you know, he will just work and work and work and work and work, and that was his drug. And to be taken away from that and not have at least any other music, I think was obviously like had a major kind of psychological effect on him.
He's not the most patient guy, and that's one of the things that he said he worked on a lot in prison, was sort of learning patience and learning to not blow up when things don't go perfectly right away. I think he came out a better person.
Wayne was released from Rikers Island Prison on November 4th, 2010, after serving 8 months of his year-long sentence. Since his stint in jail in 2010, he seems to have cleaned up his act and revealed that he is a practicing Christian who reads the Bible regularly and maintains that his faith is incredibly important to him. It's easy to see why this is the man who claims, "I've never been afraid of anything but God."
Again, you know, like it just tells you Lil Wayne does what he wants and he doesn't really care what you think about it. You know, if he wants to be religious and he wants to read the Bible, he's going to do that and he's going to tell you he's doing that. He's not trying to keep an image now. He's going to do what he likes.
Always the maverick, Lil Wayne never seems to run out of breath, whilst constantly releasing or featuring on fresh mixtapes.
Oh, I got a mixtape coming out too called No Ceilings. Yeah, it should drop any day now. You know, all my mixtapes free. Do not pay for nothing. If you pay for anything of a mixtape of mine, you are jacked. Don't pay for it, but it's called No Ceilings.
He would take songs by other artists and use the instrumental tracks and rap over them. He'd write his own verses, and so he'd sort of rap over other people's songs.
But the question still remains, how does Lil Wayne constantly produce fresh lyrics?
Man, I can't help it, I think. I can't help it, no matter what. I breathe it, I live it. I get it, I mean, like, I think when I think of, I think the only way, the best way I can explain it is, what's your best thing to do? I mean, whatever's your favorite thing to do. If it's to count the numbers on the wall, whatever it is, whatever that feeling is you get every single time you do that or hear that or say that, that's the exact same feeling I get when it's time to go in that booth, that stage or something. Anything has to do with creativity. Anything got to do with music, that's how I'm elated, you know what I mean?
He was just recording constantly, so he had all this material and nothing to do with it. So he just said, I'm gonna put it out. And he put it for free on the internet. And his label was like, what are you doing? This is crazy, you're giving away music. His manager was like, what are you doing? Are you sure you know what you're doing? And he said, trust me, this is gonna work. And he sort of got huge, you know, he made a name for himself doing that. I think it was a really smart strategy because it got his name out there in a way that the radio probably wouldn't have, or just touring a lot probably wouldn't have. It was just an easy way to publicize himself.
But Wayne isn't just giving back by giving away his music. In 2008, he set up the One Family Foundation. It's a clear throwback to his own checkered youth, and an attempt to help kids like him improve their quality of life.
He understands, I think there is a moral duty to give back. And I don't think this just applies to Wayne, of course not. It applies to anybody where life has treated them well, and you know, you have a moral duty to give back to people who haven't had the opportunities you have. And I think that's something that Wayne really understands.
He's giving back to the fans, he's giving back to the youth, he's giving back to the society where he grew up.
And that giving back can be financial or it can be a time commitment. I wouldn't expect anything less from Wayne.
I think with Wayne being 28, I still don't think he's peaked.
Nowhere near it. I was talking about that the other day. If you ever say that your peak is your peak, Only way you could go after your peak is down. So no, I've not hit it at all. I haven't even dropped Reverb. You haven't even heard Carter 4.
He's released copious amounts of albums, hundreds of freestyles, hundreds of cameos. You don't really retire. Like, any rapper who says they retire, they're lying. You know, ask Jay-Z, ask Eminem. Like, they always come back. You know, it's a job for life.
And if he ever does decide to give hip-hop a rest, he has plenty of other interests to keep him busy.
And when you hit that retirement time, how are you going to kick back?
Do something else.
Entirely.
I'm not going to retire as in, I'm just going to retire in this and probably jump into some kind of ownership of some kind of sports team or, you know, I'm very heavy into sports, so.
And what type of sports?
Any sport.
And ownership of?
Of the team.
Yeah,
like,
but any style of sports team?
That's what I'm saying. It doesn't matter. It could be basketball, it could be baseball. Of course, it won't be baseball. There's too much money to own that. But it could be basketball or football. It wouldn't matter. I could buy into a baseball team with someone. Yeah.
He's an absolute sports fanatic, and I think that's what he'll do with his money. I don't think his money will be there to buy a big mansion and sit by the side of the pool. I think his money will go into sports. Listen to Wayne report on a game, magic.
And I would not be surprised to see him on ESPN with his own show someday doing analysis on football or basketball or something, because he loves sports and his sports knowledge is encyclopedic.
Right now, it's looking like the Hornets are posing a threat, but you also have to look at Spencer Hawes. He's been playing unheard of, and Garcia, you got to watch his three-point shooting. And you know, if Kmart get it going, we don't have no chance. But other than that, the Hornets look like they're doing real good. Then you got to think the Hornets don't even have Tyson Chandler in right now. West is playing. He sprained his ankle in the first half, and you can see him limping after every shot. So we're trying to do what we can.
I always said I ain't want to do this no more after 35. I ain't want to do it no more after 35, so anytime between 30 and 35, I might give it up.
Today, Wayne lives happily in a $14 million mansion in glamorous Miami with views over South Beach. He now leads the life of a multimillionaire. It may be miles away from his early days in New Orleans, but apparently it's not the money that drives him.
I mean, what's like the worth at the moment, like the money in the bank? Pretty strong.
I never focus on that.
Okay.
I never focus on that, because if you did, then you'll get satisfied. Or you'll get unsatisfied. You never want to be none of those things when it comes to money.
It's not really about making money for him, I don't think. I know he loves having his Rolls Royces and his fancy Italian sports cars and his mansions in Miami, but I think really it's sort of this inner drive that makes him want to. He's never really satisfied with himself, and he always wants to do better and do more and keep his spot as the best.
They print money every day, Tim. Yeah, and they don't print not one bill that says Dwayne Carter can't have it.
Whatever he does, it's clear that the multi-talented Lil Wayne is here to stay.
He is just 100% artist. He's a movement that people want to be part of and buy into.
When he's at his best, Lil Wayne is the best rapper in the world.
The best is still yet to come. I think he's going to throw another curveball and do something that nobody expects.
Whether shaping the future of hip-hop, speaking to his fans from a jailhouse, or simply proving himself the master of freestyle rap, Lil Wayne is constantly reinventing himself.
The rap industry is like any other industry. You know, whatever sells, the executives are going to want. And, you know, weirdness sold with Wayne. And he, you know, and that's one of his most positive things that he's going to leave behind, is that you can be this weird, crazy person who doesn't have to, you know, play by the rules. And he had a certain rebelliousness innately that that people will always gravitate towards too.
We saw that rock record that he did that maybe wasn't the most successful, but just the fact that he was willing to take that risk and try it, I think says a lot about him. And so I don't think we know what to expect from him. Like he's one of those guys who just, he gets an idea and he goes for it.
That guy will always inspire. And I think that's one of the attractions of him.
Still only 28, it's clear that Lil Wayne has a lifetime of surprises in store for his fans.
I think Lil Wayne's sound is going to dominate hip-hop for the next 10 years. He's setting levels now which I think other artists are only going to have to aspire to.
All you who lobby against making drugs legal, just like you did with alcohol during Prohibition, you're the one who's guilty. I mean, come on, let's take the ballistics here. Ain't no Uzis made in Harlem. I mean, not one of us in here owns a poppy field. This thing is bigger than Nino Brown. This is big business.